Dzień dobry, w kolejnym odcinku Sherlocku Holmesie jesteśmy w komisarce policji, jak pamiętamy ostatnio, gdzie nas policja zaskoczyła by na tym akcie sprawy. Nie mogę się dostać. Muszę to jakoś ogarnąć i to będzie łatwe i inne. I teraz muszę...
This area is restricted.
Nie mogę. Co za słabe, nie? Ja nie mogę się dostać tam krzyczem. Tu są inne osoby. Słabo, więc muszę to jakoś ogarnąć. Jak to zrobić? To jest duże pytanie.
The air here is rather refreshing. I'd even recommend that some of my friends visit the place. This area is restricted. This area is restricted.
Okay.
I'm doing my part. You should do yours too, Holmes.
Nie mamy. Musicie zastanowić, gdzie są te pomocne rzeczy, które mi pomogą się dostać. Musimy mikrofon zmienić. Jest. Jest udzielić puknięcia. Albo ja jest. To jest ta mapa. Mamy list. Nie, sprawa czytania, sorry. Co chcę czytać? I później ogarnąć sprawę. Mamy klucze. Chyba klucze mi były potrzebne. List? Nie, przeczytane, okej. Kolejne sprawy mamy do połączenia. Coś pytacie nam się odpoczyło? Zaraz do tej teczki zerczymy. Dzięki temu chcemy się dostać do celu.
Good day, Mr. Manchios.
Czas na
I
rozmowę.
am Constable Oswald's partner in this investigation.
Be quick and gentle. Some of your colleagues are untrained bores. Although I don't mind meeting young officers. New blood here.
If you cooperate in finding Fabio's murderer, there will be no need to meet with the Boers again.
That voice. Ernest's friend? You're the policeman. What a disappointment.
Only an
But SS
undercover
on the
agent can
episode.
scour a ditch full of deviants.
I nie pec.
I am a consulting detective, although I'm capable of replacing the entire department through my consultations.
Sharp-tongued, I like it. May I presume this tongue will get us out of this trouble? I would be so indebted and glad to repay you.
Nothing's changed. I'm looking for the murderer. That's the only way to get us out of trouble.
But it
Czas
shouldn't take much
rozwinąć
time,
temat.
correct? We're all
I mi
busy
powiedz
after
to,
all.
co peć.
I need to examine you first.
Analiza postaci. Dlaczego teraz perczą? Wybaczę, co te okłoci bitre. Mam nadzieję, że nie będzie tego słuchać. Kto normalnie 2 listopada perci? Nie rozumiem tego. Co tutaj wybrać, żeby to było ok? Trudny piwójny, nie? Może dobry piwój to być, bo jedziemy wykończył Sherlock Holmes.
You are a little over the top with your use of makeup, Mr. Manchios. Is it so difficult for you to acknowledge your age?
Well, Sherlock, that's easy for you to say to an old man when you look as though you are barely 15.
But still, it shouldn't be an issue for someone of your status.
For people of my age, it isn't an issue, no. But the younger ones can be so afraid of wrinkles and grey flecks. I have to adapt.
Such a methodical man who cares for his body but misses the soap under his fingernails. Are you so impatient, or
Może
perhaps
tak
even
percać?
impulsive?
I wouldn't call myself that. Silly little details. If I missed it, it wasn't important. Or rather, it was less important than who or what I was focused on.
O Boże. Apečným porozumávame.
Mr. Vogel told me a little about your
A počne
parties,
sa
but
veľmi
I would
mutopaty.
like to know more directly
Iba to
from
będzie
you.
dobry
I'm
moment.
all yours, Sherlock. You have me arrested and locked here with you alone.
Why did you invite Mr. Vogel as your special guest?
He's a pretty fellow. He's capable of surprising the public. He has a talent for saying words that no one else would wish to either say or hear.
I suppose I can't argue with that.
He is a free addition to the eccentricity of the party, which is fine by me, as long as it enhances my party.
I'd like to know who you usually invite to your parties.
Free minds who are able to leave reality for an evening, who can taste forbidden fruit without prejudice. There is nothing that quite spices up life like these parties, assuming one is old enough and has worked many years for the good of one's country.
Oh, all true labourers, I see. What was Fabio like?
Jeszcze
His
jedna
personality, his
opcja nam
habits.
została.
Anything you can tell me?
He was the brightest star of my parties, young, magnetic, and full of energy. I don't even want to mention his beauty, otherwise I'll be sobbing.
Expensive champion, I imagine.
His performances were flawless. He deserved his payment. Do you think he was murdered because of money?
Possibly. What about the other guests? Were they used to opening their wallets as well?
I wouldn't restrict my guests from anything. I'm sure Fabio received a few coins from others for his services.
Teraz chcesz napić do poty.
I appreciate your
Chyba poczekam z tym
cooperation, Mr.
trochę później.
Manchios. Wait just a moment.
Tu nie ma ten. Tu ani nikogo nie ma. Tu jest jedna osoba.
I'm Sherlock Holmes. I'm helping Constable Oswald. You are Matista, Fabio's friend.
This body, yes, it's Matista. But it's a mere shell that will die someday. Just like Fabio.
Okej. Najpierw z nią porozmawiamy.
Please accept my condolences for your friend.
Thank you.
I'm just here to ask questions and find Fabio's murderer.
It will not bring Fabio back.
Możemy przeczytać dzisiaj i zobaczyć, co możemy powiedzieć jej cało o niej. Buciki mamy. Okej. Jedną rzecz mamy. Teraz muszę się zastanowić, co by wybrać. Mi najbardziej to pasowało bez
Fabio and yourself
Piszemy
were slaves,
to
am I correct?
i
You
dalej
have a similar
się
branding on your
słuchamy
body.
osobę.
Yes. It was a long time ago.
Couldn't help but also notice fresh cuts upon your forearms.
The cuts helped me to forget my past, to cover the old wounds and hide them.
How did you escape?
Something happened. One night the master fell down the stairs. I made him fall, and he died. We ran away that day. We managed to get on a ship and traveled here, Gordona. Fabio and I started a new life here. It was very hard at first, but it became better with time. Until today.
The bruises on your neck are not self-inflicted. Someone else made them.
Some guests can't contain themselves.
Potit rozmować będę chyba
They
miał
even
dość
bite.
dowodów na większość rzeczy. Teraz mamy większość rzeczy do położenia faktów. Już trafiłem, bez tu.
I appreciate your cooperation, Mr. Manchios.
Znowu gadałem. Tutaj nic ciekawego nie ma, bez.
Let me see what I can do about all this.
Mamy tylko rozmowę i kolejne rzeczy do połączenia. Wszystko czerwone. Mamy. Nie tak. Ale co za mało. To czym kłócić. Tamtym bez. Okej. Mam już będę trzeci okrętę. Możemy dalej działać. Nic to nam nie dało. Więc musimy przestawić to boty na czym tęczną. Przestawimy mu to
I've
boty.
nothing to say about this. I've nothing to say about this. You'd better ask me a question I know how to
To
answer.
nie. Chyba
I
to.
don't think I can tell you anything about this.
Have you considered Mr. Santos Pinchetti as a suspect?
The snitch? Have you seen him? I mean, my breath could knock him down. What's so special about him?
As a major domo, he has keys that open all the rooms, including the one to the crime scene. Could have testified only to circumvent suspicion, don't you think? We need to question him.
Right. I'll send our men to fetch him. Stay here.
Będziemy mieli nowego
They brought him in,
świadka do
Mr. Holmes.
przesłania.
Here's the key to interrogation room number 7. Mr. Pinchetti didn't even resist, our men said.
Thank you.
Czytacie
You
mi.
question Mr.
Jak
Pinchetti in the
przestanę?
interrogation room.
Would you like to report a crime?
O czym? To boty idź znaleźć. Co mieli poczać, ale to pana.
Would you like to report a crime? Would you like to report a crime?
Co teraz być robić? Oto jest pytanie, no nie? Na ciągle już pan sąsiad, albo pani sąsiadka się stała percić. Percić, okej.
Would you like to report a crime? Would you like to report a crime?
Tu nic nie ma ciekawego.
You can question Mr. Pinchetti in the interrogation
Tu
room.
nic. On mi szuka na temat matki mojej.
Good day. Your ticket,
Is it
please,
okay?
if you want me to help you.
A, tutaj mogę odebrać moje
I'd like
wanty.
to check the evidence from this
Podskutowany.
case.
And who are you?
Czesłany,
Oswald
sorry.
sent me. I'm a consulting detective.
His partner, then? Let me see. Ah, a ritual murder. What a bunch of
Będę miał
degenerates. Wait a
Dobra,
second.
ty
I'll bring it to the table.
cię pytać.
All the keys of the mansion on one golden ring. A heavily perfumed handkerchief with the initials KM in the corner. It's a miracle this ruby hasn't tempted anyone. Not the time for privacy.
Będę miał trzeci.
An emergency kit for boredom.
Bez sprawa będzie trochę łatwiej.
Verner's
Już szybciej.
personal sketchbook. A handcrafted charm that contains hair and nail clippings. Her key to the altar room.
Jeszcze jedna rzecz. I będę już miał wszystko
That's not for
Daj.
bedtime reading.
o zrobione.
This ex libris belongs to Mancio's library.
Książka. Potem miłości, okej.
The book describes a ritual similar to the one performed in the altar room. Thank you, officer.
Teraz mogę im przestawić do boty, a oni mi wymknę wszystko, wyśpiewają. Może niechętnie, ale chcę dobę większość rzeczy o nich. Co mają do powiedzenia. Bez, to nie będzie, to będzie ok wszystko dla mnie. Co sytuacja mile? Gubię trochę czas pisać. Mam nadzieję, że to będzie od blisko końca, bez nie
This
będę miał,
book, The Power of Love,
nie
Blood
będę
and
zaskazał
Mandrake, what do you
przesłanu,
hope to achieve?
To
posłuchajcie
learn
i
more about the
przeczytacie
invisible
napisy.
strengths that govern us. Occultism is real. The master who fell that night when Fabio and I escaped, I made him fall. I cast a spell on him and it worked.
Or was it a coincidence?
The universe is rarely so lazy.
If you say so.
I've nothing to add.
This is the letter the police found in Mr. Vogel's pocket. Fabio wrote it. Do you know anything about it?
I don't. Although I can feel Fabio's energy. It's there, but it refuses to let me analyze it.
Do you practice occult rituals?
For protection? For fortune? To wash away the ugliness of the world?
Okej,
Sometimes to survive. I have the gift, and I'm
ale
learning to
pamiętam,
use
że
it
to
better.
tylko
Did
jej
you
perca
use your
pytacie.
gift on Fabio?
I only used white magic. Love charms
Jej perca
lately.
pytacie nie musi być
Fabio
prawidłowa
became so
podstawy.
distant. I just wanted him to be with me, but I suppose I'm not as skilled as I thought.
Tylko jedna perca pytacie jest najbardziej prawdziwa. Ja, jako słynny Sherlock Holmes, muszę ogarnąć,
Do you
która
recognize
to
this
sprawa
book?
jest.
Could Matista have borrowed it from your library?
She didn't ask me. How ungrateful.
The things described in the book were inspiration for the rituals you perform?
Do you really believe that blood, symbols, and incantations can resurrect the dead? They are just eerie tales with a mix of occultism and voodoo. My rituals are
Voodoo?
a stage to show some of the forbidden pleasures.
I've read this letter from Fabio. It had no addressee, but it was found in Mr. Vogel's pocket.
Werner? Strange. I didn't think the two of them corresponded.
I'm sure there is some explanation. Would you care to read it?
Call me superstitious, but I don't care to read a letter from a dead man.
That's not something I know much about. You better ask someone else.
Większość rzeczy
That's
muszę
not something I know much about. You better
Yeah.
ask someone else.
badać, przeczytać
I've
i
no
wtedy
idea
doznam
about that.
większość
Do you have any
rzeczy.
idea who tipped off the police to raid your mansion, Mr. Manchios?
Of course. It was you. I could even say you Sherlocked me in here.
A good guess, but the wrong one. The fellow who did that was Mr. Pinchetti, your major domo.
What? Santos? But how could he even know? If he's not the murderer himself. The ungrateful swine. He has dared to besmirch my reputation.
Not a very eloquent choice of words.
What should I call him then, since he's a snitch? Make him talk, Sherlock. I'm quite certain he knows more about the murder than he has told the police.
You better ask someone else.
Jeszcze mogę coś
You bought
z
an
tego
expensive
powodu
pair of
ogarnąć.
cufflinks for Fabio. Were they his price? Or were they a tip for an exclusive show?
It was pure business. Fabio escorted me a few times. I was merely showing my gratitude.
This pair cost a small fortune. You must be extremely grateful then. Tell me more.
You've thrust a knife in an exposed nerve, Sherlock. Yes, he was my protege and my beacon also. With my experience and his beauty, we could have achieved anything. I had faith in him. I would have made him.
Okej. To obiecałem cię. Dać. od niego. Zobaczymy to będzie więcej rzeczy. Zaraz ci kolejną osobą pogadać na ten temat. Na temat robotów.
So the police found a letter from Fabio in your
Teraz
pocket.
ci mówię,
I cannot tell if it was truly in my pocket at all.
ja ci tak mogę to
Perhaps it was
naspać.
placed there later.
Well, that is one hypothesis. If it were true, then how did it get there?
No clue. But this night has been rather eccentric. Such a detail could have easily eluded me.
Indeed. You recall reading it?
I can't remember that either. But I tend to respect privacy. Reading
Respekt.
others' personal notes is not one of my perversities.
I can't follow you here. I'm not supposed to know anything about this. I can't follow you here. I can't follow you here.
I have learned who told the police about the crime. It was Santos Pinchetti,
Do I know him?
the major domo of the manor. He cleans up after you.
Well, then he does his job perfectly. All but invisible. I couldn't tell you the first thing about him.
Chcę to będzie od ciebie toczyć. Zatem, jeszcze to nie będzie koniec. Jeszcze będę musiał popracować. Ale uciekam coraz bliżej końcówki Sherlocka. Mamy tu inne rzeczy.
I recognize the key from the altar room
Czas
among
tym,
these.
no po złapanym osobę słuchać. I chcę to powiedzieć od niego coś znana, dowodów, co on ma na ten temat powiedzone.
Mr. Pinchetti, a pleasure to meet you. I'm Sherlock Holmes. I'm helping Constable Oswald.
I've already told him everything I know. I'm only a witness, sir. Everything's in my report.
And I've read it. You forgot to mention that you hold the keys to the room where Fabio was found. I need only to find if the crime was intentional.
But I need to return to my duties.
I doubt the house will fall without you, Mr. Pinchetti. Just be still for a few seconds.
Okej. Zobaczymy. Bądźmy zadamy pytania. Jak mi podpowie to co wie. Mam nadzieję, że on mi powie prawdę. Jak nie, no to będzie kiepsko. Mamy portret.
You are the major domo of a rich mansion, and you seem barely able to afford decent clothing. You hide, under heavy makeup, a skin disease that might be treated with more onerous but less harmful means. Do you have money troubles?
Do not have a lot of means. The pay is below what you might expect.
But you could easily change your job if your employer does not meet your elementary needs.
One can change his employer, that is true.
And the blood on your shoe, where does that come from?
I don't actually know. Perhaps from a guest?
Yes.
Did you know Fabio?
Not personally. He was a frequent guest, and cleaning the mess after his performances was tedious. Mr. Manchios always had a role for him, and mainly the leading one. The parties were always
Jeszcze mamy kawałek do Czeczuana.
Ametista? Was she as popular as the partner?
Don't tell her I said this, but I do not think so. Mr. Manchios hired her only because Fabio refused to work without her. Mr. Manchios used to see her as a worker. She was tasked with entertaining the guests. Unlike Fabio, who could pick and choose.
Mr. Manchios says that you begged him to be included in the heritage. Isn't that a little extreme, even for a major domo?
He's not only my employer, he's my uncle. And I'm his next of kin. The only one. Mr. Manchios flatly refuses to pay a family member. All I have to do is repay his so-called love, cleaning up the filth after perverts and decadents. He's imprisoned me. The best I can hope for is a new broom. That's why I wanted to have my part of the inheritance.
Is it that bad? You have a roof above your head, a salary, and the status of a major domo.
For God's sake. I'm forced to dye and stitch my threadbare clothes, and the holes in my shoes are painful. I'm ashamed every time a guest looks at me closely.
Why do you think your uncle treats you this way?
My mother, my uncle's sister, had me illegitimately. She died, and I was given the surname of one of the maids.
But you are entitled to some of the money that belongs to your family.
He thinks not. I was not responsible for my mother's death. I work hard, and he pays me nothing. I feed on the leftovers. While he wastes our estate's property on decadent parties, he paid Fabio handsomely and showered him with expensive gifts for their disgusting relationship.
Please let me out.
Końca. Chyba od niego więcej nie wyciągnę na ten moment, bet nie będę mu... Mam kilka rzeczy, to połączę na bet. Może spróbujemy połączyć, a też nowe fakty nam tortą rzeczy. Mamy dużo połączeń. Bez to bym się teraz idealnie.
Please let me out.
I have reason to believe that the intended recipient of the incriminating letter may have been Kurt Manchios.
Well, that makes sense. Too bad I can't remember how I came to possess it. Though I did spend quite some time with Mr. Manchios during the party.
Unfortunately, even with an answer, that may still not be enough to clear you with the police. But fear not, I will persevere.
I hope your attempt to put things straight will make up for...
You being on a bender?
Touché.
Skończyliśmy. Okay.
Could Fabio have written this letter to Kurt Manchios?
Oh. That could be. I never thought Mr. Manchios could make Fabio that angry, though.
What do you mean?
Well, Fabio wanted to disassociate from Mr. Manchios. Clients who are in love are both a blessing and a curse.
But Fabio was here tonight.
Money. In our line of work, we can't afford to turn down clients who pay as well as Kurt Manchios.
Was Fabio afraid of Mr. Manchios?
Not at all. The old toad wouldn't dare to do more than sweet talk and touching. Talk can be forgotten, and touching washed away.
Okay.
There is undeniable evidence that you were the original recipient of this letter.
What are you talking about? Is it addressed to me?
Your protégé wanted a fresh start, it seems. This is sufficient to charge you.
Me? Hurt my star? Are you insane that you would accuse me of such a thing?
He did not consider himself as yours. Since you deny everything, let's move on. Do you have any idea as to how the letter could have ended up in Mr. Vogel's pocket?
You were the detective. Perhaps he took it from Fabio. Werner was a little high.
You better ask someone else.
Okay.
I've read the letter about your will.
A
harsh method of ridiculing Santos. I doubt he will use mustache wax when he wears no mustache to begin with.
Where did you get it? Is the slug here? Tell him I shouldn't have to provide for him. He's a grown man who shouldn't sit on his uncle's neck. He conceives himself as my only heir.
And who is he to you?
He's a leech on my aging body. He has only added problems to my life since the death of his mother.
I fail to see why you made him your major domo.
He needed to know his place, so I taught him.
Mamy Mamy już pękło trzecie. Może to już będzie wszystko. Mamy już chyba dużo kropek. Tych połączeń. Najpewniej pisały sprawę jest. Nigdy będzie tu nie małem. Ale chyba dobrze. Trzeba analizować wszystko. Sprawdzić wszystkie możliwości.
The air here is rather refreshing.
I wybrać
I'd even recommend that some of my friends visit the place. Please let me out.
prawidłowe.
Let's continue our chat a little later. I appreciate your cooperation, Mr. Manchios.
Jestem ciekawy naprawdę. Trzeba się zastanowić i tego trana albo tego trana znaleźć. Oto jest pytanie, czy to on, czy nie? Chyba to będzie najdoczesniejsza kara.
The murder of Fabio did not have a ritual purpose, Mr. Manchios. It was staged by a man who wished to distract the investigation.
That might be true. That poor girl Matista wouldn't dare to kill the only man who cared for her. So, Santos.
Mr. Pinchetti snatched at the chance to solve his problems.
Ungrateful little scum. Will he be executed?
But what for? He informed the police as to the crime, that was all. He couldn't stage the ritual, but he found the body, I believe.
I can't believe it. Why did Werner do it?
Mr. Vogel. He had no reason, and he won't be a scapegoat as you plan. You put Fabio's letter in his pocket when he was intoxicated, didn't you?
You can't be serious.
We can very often deduce someone's life by their shoes or their fingernails. You are a meticulous person, but this murder was fairly traumatic and filthy. After you stabbed Fabio, you were covered in blood. You panicked and neglected to rinse the soap from under your fingernails. The devil is in the details, Mr. Manchios.
Nonsense. I missed it simply because of the busy schedule of the party.
Of course, a staged murder was certainly not planned. You're at the twilight of your life. You have no partner, you have no children. You had feelings, however, for one man. That was Fabio. You loved him. That is, you wished to own him with money and gifts. But he was also a free mind, was he not? He turned his back on you. Quite unjust. Love, so cruel and painful, and Fabio, with his words and deeds, made you feel the more wretched. So you killed him.
You must surely perceive that my sensitive nature wouldn't allow me to hurt anyone.
You staged the murder as a satanic ritual. It was easy for you, since you were the one who wrote the scenarios for the parties. It was your way of avoiding suspicion. A respectable man in his 60s,
early 60s,
who hosts the cream of Cordona's society, not possibly be a murderer. But the guests who behave like animals in his mansion, Of course, one of them could have killed Fabio.
I did oversee a few of the rituals, but I did not stage Fabio's death.
The young performer played with your emotions. That was painful to realize. You spent so much time and effort to be with Fabio, but he didn't respond in the way you would have liked. You wanted to be loved. But Fabio shattered your dreams. In the smoking lounge, he teased and mocked you. He wanted you to suffer by offering himself to others. The deception was unbearable. You struck him, and then you staged the ritual. You planted the letter in Vogel's pocket and attempted to set up Matista.
What poppycock? Sherlock, stop this game now.
There is no stop word, Mr. Manchios. Relax and enjoy it. I'll pass the remainder of this case to Constable Oswald. He'll know what to do with you.
Epa.
I know you can untangle this mess.
I have a name for you. Kurt Manchios.
Is that so? The Master of the Sabbath?
The man himself. Mr. Manchios couldn't stand to lose control over his lover. A deadly revenge that deserves a proper sentence. I have all the evidence to charge him.
A degenerate and a murderer. I'll make a name thanks to that for sure. As for my part, not everything was in place. Perhaps some documents were transferred somewhere else, but I couldn't find a trace of them. Then I remembered. The discarded document drawers where we put the lost papers or the badly labelled ones. Including the crime scene report of Violet Holmes's case. Everything I've found is on the desk here. Take it.
Your persistence has saved me.
Yeah, well, we had a deal after all. Your friend is free then. You can leave.
Good luck, Constable.
Mamy kolejne trofeum, które mnie Cyprica to pratyny. Mamy kolejne porce wspomnień. Chyba to są ostatnie cipy od Brokopana. Czytałem na akceptę, nie będąc po prostu. Muszę się zastanowić.
There's a garden behind our manor. I forget. That's where it all happened.
Oh, you did it, Sherlock. The case is closed and all rewards belong to the winner. Bravo.
It is merely the triumph of the truth.
Wypuścili ciebie,
No
bo byłeś
compromises?
niewinny.
No lies? You're happy with your decisions?
It was the best decision I could obtain. The truth must be told in the way it is most acceptable.
You're making progress, Sherlock. I was right to believe in you. By the way, did you get that precious information about your mother? Oh, not that you must.
Yes, I did.
Forgive my intrusion in such a personal matter. I simply worry I'm failing to be of much help to you.
Actually, you were. For some reason, all the archives on the case had disappeared. This was a rare opportunity to obtain the impossible.
Outrageous. Perhaps someone found the truth unpleasant. Society usually rejects those who speak with too much honesty, doesn't it?
A comfortable lie is often preferred to an uncomfortable truth. Still, I believe that the latter should prevail, and I cannot remain silent.
That's quixotism at its best. Your mere truth cannot defeat institutions, systems, and power. Etiquette, religion, marriage, they're all lies told to preserve connections, love, and sanity, and it's all corruptible.
Lies destroy human dignity. How could you make a free decision without any knowledge of the truth?
Are we really free to decide anything in this world, Sherlock?
Okej, co tu pipiprać?
Oh yes.
Jak będzie ta
It's a struggle,
opcja?
but yes, we can make our own decisions. That's what I fight for.
And what an endless fight it is. Will you ever give yourself a break, Sherlock? You're a walking contradiction, Sherlock. You refuse to lie to others, but constantly lie to yourself. How long until the train comes off the track? I cannot look away, but perhaps I should take a few steps back. You're an accident waiting to happen, dear. Until then, I shall bid you adieu.
Udamy się do domku. Zobaczymy, co tam się stało. Czemu teraz znowu uperczyć? Muszę patrzany tłuko kończyć. Bo ten pan mi nie daje, a ten sąsiad mi nie daje spokoju. To było na tyłat. Nie, to nie było na tyłat.
Sherry,
Yes.
please listen to me. Sherry,
John, I always listen to you.
don't have to do this. You don't have to go through. I don't know what is beyond this door, but I can feel it. Buzzing, angry like a fly at the window.
I know. I can sense it too.
You locked away this memory for a reason. There is only pain here.
Pain. And truth.
You do not need to suffer either. There is so much more we can do on Cordona, so many others we can help. There is no coming back from this.
I po później. To będzie chyba najlepsza opcja. Uda się dokończyć drogę, powodzić inne miejsca i okanać
I
pracę
find
na
myself awash in uncertainty. Perhaps now is not the time, with so much left to do.
Thank you, Sherlock.
Ale
Thank you.
i tak tędy
Some doors
wrócimy
can remain
kolego.
closed.
Szybciej czy
Cordona
później.
still calls for us, yes. And we will answer. But know this, John. One way or another, we will find ourselves back in front of this door, unable to avoid the truth any longer.
Okej. Mamy być telepatyczny domku ogarnięte. To jest okej. Zamknij co chcę. To. Jest. To tutaj. To. Tu. I będzie kit maloniec. Zobaczymy sprawy. Tu jest coś. Może to będzie kolejna sprawa. Ta Holmesa.
I used to be alone.
Killed with one perfect shot to
Just one.
each eye. Can you?
Mamy? Nie, nie udało nam się.
Killed with one.
Mamy jakiś wpis negatywny na temat naszych osób od
Killed with one
Niego?
perfect. Killed with one.
Mamy sprawę, którą czarmy mieczem, no nie? Czyli wszystkich spraw nie udało nam się ogarnąć. Więc teraz okaza, żeby je ogarnąć, by mieć spokój, i będzie czysto. No nie? Ja utrzymałem i zapraszam na kolejne odcinki z Sherlockiem Holmesem i to usłyszenia w kolejnym odcinku. Pa!